Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Usually Fixing and Tinkering in the world of Project George. And yet again, we have some more problems, but we are going to fix some problems as well. We've got a show to go to tomorrow and this is not looking good for George straight away in one particular department. So I kind of covered this in the last episode, but basically we had a few mishappenings with George again after leaving me in the following update, which came out not far from recently. Unfortunately, after leaving me on that day, this particular thing decided to happen to the thermostat housing. Yes, as you can see in this picture, we had a thermostat housing leak, but you may also observe that one of the bolts had actually sheared itself. Now, I can tell you now from touching those bolts, I could tell you how all of them are going to shear. And what I must have done on that day where I decided to stop before I did any damage, I think I'd already done some damage. I think I'd started already twisting a rusted bolt, i.e. twisting the head off rather than actually twisting the bolt. And one of them just gave in, and one of the bolts, obviously when the bolt sheared, its head under pressure, thermal expansion is probably responsible for that. There's less pressure on the thermostat housing seal. There's obviously only 3 bolts holding it in place and it's leaked. And Nick had a few, you had a high temperature, didn't you, Nick? You got a high temperature from it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went into the red a little bit. And what?
Just a bit.
Yes, I did tell you, well, we managed to get you into a place of safety before anything else happened, but that's when you discovered the leak on the floor. Suffice to say, the garage had a bit of a fight with it, didn't they?
3 days.
3
days fight.
3 days fighting. But the labour wasn't too bad, was it? When we say fighting, guys, what we mean is that the garage had to shear all the bolts, snap all 4, like I said would happen, and drill the bolts out. And as you can see in this picture, this is just the state of one of them. Tap the bolts out and put new bolts in. That took 3 days, and the labour wasn't really that bad actually, but that job, I'm afraid other Mark 1 owners are going to encounter that. It is a design flaw of this Sigma engine. Why they did not go and have thicker, stronger bolts, I do not know. They're tiny little bolts. When they get seized, they will just end up snapping the heads. And if they snap flush, you can't even use a stud extractor. It just won't do. So you have to just cut them out, drill them out. Anyway, they tried to weld a nut on, but it didn't work. So this is a killer. And I mentioned this before in an episode. Somebody scrapped their Mark 1 because all the bolts sheared from the thermostat housing, flush with the block. Now, obviously, he didn't bother to get it drilled out. He was probably told it's going to cost you about, £500 in labour, and that would be a realistic price. But this, no, it only cost far less than that. So Nick was very, very lucky, to be honest with you. The other thing I would also say, there should have been something happening when the temperature needle went into the red. Now, on a Mark 1, whatever the engine, particularly the petrols, you will have a temperature sensor in between spark plugs 2 and 3. Okay? That temperature sensor controls the gauge. Well, it basically sends a signal to the ECU, the cylinder head temperature. It's not a coolant temperature. It's a cylinder head temperature sensor, SHT, whatever. That will send information to the ECU regarding the temperature, and the ECU will control the gauge to tell you what's it doing. The gauge isn't really an indication of the exact temperature. It's actually an indication of what the ECU is actually doing. And when the ECU puts that gauge into the red, there is a problem. And I suspect, as well as losing coolant, air was getting in, and when air locks get in, it will confuse that sensor. And probably it wasn't getting that hot, to be honest, because he had coolant. There was plenty of coolant in the bottle when Nick pulled up. But we knew this would kind of happen at some point, and it was the elephant in the room, but I'm glad it's been done. It's all done, coolant back in, the alternator had to come out, the inlet manifold had to come out, strangely enough, to get access to drill all these bolts out. And if I just shove you down here, you can kind of see some new bolts, can you? There you go, there's one. You know, it's just, it's a horrible job, but it's a genuine thermostat housing. This engine will not have this problem again. Absolutely not. So this is again another battle and another victory we've won. But the engine should have done, well, the ECU should have done one thing, and that is turn this electric radiator fan on. Unfortunately, Nick has to report that the fan did not cut in. We are going to do a very simple test now to determine what the problem is. Is it the fan that's packed up, which can happen? Is it this relay here? This relay should click, by the way. Okay. If you got a double fan, you should have this one and this one. So there should be one here, but this is for the aircon models. This is non-aircon. Should only have one. Mine's got the same. Okay. The wiring is never a problem. It is always either the fan or the relay or the switch. But if the temperature switch was playing up, we'd probably know about it. You would have a problem. But it is recommended to change that switch every so often. So, okay. So, we've got into ForScan, and we are on the command section. Okay, we've got some tests that we're doing, and we want to command, I'm sorry about this, low speed fan on. Okay, Nick, when I tell you to press OK, we're going to try and listen for this relay. Okay, Nick? Yeah, that was certainly a click. That relay has definitely clicked, and the fan has not turned on. Sorry, Nick, we've got a dead fan, a definite dead fan here. Now, some of you might have noticed on the floor here, we have a spare fan. Yay! No. Big mistake. Come here. The 1.4s have a smaller radiator, because my radiator finishes here for the 1.6. Where you got a 1.4, it's a smaller radiator. We don't need as much capacity in a 1.4, and therefore the fan is different. It's smaller. Oh, for fuck's sake, honest to God. Do you know what? Honestly, buying parts of this thing, this will fit mine 100%. But the length of it, the legs stick out a long way on this side. Oh, grief. Okay, so that's going in my spares. But this fan is absolutely useless, and we are going to a car show tomorrow, but we're going to have to go without a fan. I think we'll be okay, Nick. We just need to be very careful about stop-start, sort of traffic in the queues going in, but we should be all right. But anyway, Nick is very happy about one thing. We're going to ditch that fan. It's literally, it's held on with these legs, okay? You just bring it away and it will go like that. But we need to just take the wiring off. We've got this wiring plug here. I've just slipped it out. It's just, oh, the whole fan's just slipped out. That was my fault. But what you got to do is just got to press the tab in and to release both sides. And this is going in the bin of shame. There we go. Just terrible. You might have to get a pick in to get this connection. You might have to take the snorkel off, but it doesn't really matter. Just get a pin and then they will be stiff. There we go. So what you're doing is you're getting a pin in there and you're pushing this down, okay, and then sliding off the wiring loom connector, and now it's all free. Right. Yeah, it's a completely different parts number. This is
smaller.
This is a lot smaller. In fact, this doesn't have a resistor. I think this is a one-speed fan, you know. I think this is an earlier one where they cheapened out. I don't recognise this. This is very different from the one I've got on mine.
Okay, yeah, because you've got aircon.
I ain't got aircon.
Oh, no, you
My car's got no aircon. No.
Keep forgetting you've got
aircon. There is a theory that I have that they actually cheapened out on the fans early on and actually upgraded later on, strangely enough. But it just says Bosch on it. But there's no, we have a number, 98AB 8C607. Okay, right, put that over here. Well, we can say, I don't think it will, mate, don't worry about it. But look at the size. Look at the size. This is the fun. That's for yours because the radiator ends there, but these have got longer legs for the bigger radiator. This is the one that's fitted to mine, actually. I'm just going to pop this fan here and get this wiring plug. I won't make sure that nothing's in the way. But this one, we've got a resistor because it's a 2-speed fan. I think you've just got a 1-speed fan. Because when we did the 2-speed test, on the commands of ForScan, that even the relay didn't click. So that fan is not optimized for 2 speeds, it's a 1-speed. This is definitely a 2-speed. So we're going to pop it onto the connector. Okay, right, do you want to go in and optimize the commands? Yeah,
watch your fingers.
Yes, I know, I've got to take my hands away. Right, there's no moving parts near me.
Okay, now.
Yay! Straight away. Okay. I think we can conclusively say that that is a dead fan and this is a correct fan. That works, but it's not the correct one for this one. But I'll buy it off. Don't worry, I'll buy it off you. I'll give you 20 quid that you paid for it and you can go and get... well, that's going to be an interesting find. Should try and get one of them. I bet that's going to be quite hard to get. Oh, sorry, the bin of shame isn't there. It's the rubbish day. The bin of shame is around the corner. Sorry, mate. You just go and chuck it in. Bin of shame. Oh dear, not even. What? I don't know. It's not recyclable. Put it in the rubbish. No, it's not recyclable. My ass. But we have some victories. So, firstly, we've got a nice cap to replace this stupid one. There we go, that will go in the bin. And we have something missing on your car, which is really important. This is for the HT leads. You must have this separator. People don't assume this, but HT leads, when you have electricity running through copper wires, or whatever conductor it is, it creates an electromagnetic field. If you have wires, HT leads in this case, touching, you must make sure this on any car. I'm always a stickler for this. If the HT leads are touching, there is a risk of cross-firing and lack of basically electricity getting to the spark plugs. By putting one of these in, you are separating the wires out and preventing them from touching, especially in this position here. Okay, look how close they are. We do not want this. These are very hard to get, and I had a spare one hanging around. So don't lose these, guys. There we go. Lovely. Job done. Now, we do have a problem, actually. Why is that? I don't know why that's... Why is that? I didn't put it like that. Someone's... did the garage mess with this? Why? Don't like that at all. So, yeah. That's over there. That's all nice. We're all spaced up. Great. Lovely. Job done. Oh, by the way, the other test for the fan is if you haven't got ForScan, this is simple. So what you do, you put your ignition on, you have to take this grommet out, take this spark plug out, and you're going to have to get the connector off the temperature sender. Okay? It's perfectly possible. Put it off, okay, very gently. Turn the ignition on. The fan should cut in straight away. The fan should be permanently on, because if that's disconnected, the ECU will go, I've got no temperature reading. So we'll go into a fail safe and just stick the fan on all the time. And that's when you know. So you don't need ForScan to do this. You just need some basic old-fashioned, take a plug out, put the ignition on, done. Okay, right, next job. Inlet manifold, yes, so for those of you who watch the inlet manifold rebuild, I'm so sorry about the lack of sound towards the end of it while I was rebuilding it, because unfortunately, for some reason, I lost it completely. Yeah, Nick...
I've not seen it. No,
Nick hasn't seen it at this point. At this point of the continuity of this episode, we have some new injectors, which will be going on from a 99,000 mile. Nick is just... you know, loving this, lapping it up. As it also, Nick has given me the missing gasket, so this is a genuine one. This is a BGA one, but it doesn't matter. It's just colourful. Yes, only we're going to know about this. Obviously, the throttle position sensor is from my car, and it works perfectly fine. It's perfect. Idle control valve, which is a working one. All the clips and connections, you've seen that video, but we are missing a clip because I didn't realise that this clip here, I've got two of these, and I tried to fit that to there. It won't work because this is actually bigger. It requires a bigger clip than this, so we need the clip from here. So we're going to get started straight away in swapping this over and getting some power back. Just use a pick or whatever just to break that off. And by the way, I've quite a few of these parts are going to go into my spares as an exchange. Is that all right, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And all this...
Exchange it for a fan if you've got one.
Yes, exactly. Some of this crap is going in the bin. Inlet manifold, not going to deal with it. So we're going to take that wiring plug off. We've got this fir tree clip. I did break it last time. There you go. Just a fir tree clip that goes into that hole there. Just hook this out the way because we're going to have to deal with a lot of that in a second. And pull this. Oh, God, it's hard to break this. There we go. Lovely. Well, that is off. Now, I'm going to whip that off with this pipe anyway. Sometimes they just come off completely. There's just a little latch there that just latches into that groove there, but I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean up to match the rest of it. So that pipe can go, there we go, and that's going to go in my spares. And then obviously we're left with a bunch of things. So we've got this throttle cable, twist it and pull out of that square. Easy enough, and it should just come out. We are missing the circlip to this, but it doesn't really matter. Try and get the cable off. There we go. It just pulls off. In fact, it's actually come off. Yeah, the rubber's stuck on. What will happen is the rubber, it's like this one actually. The rubber is actually attached to this. So I'll kind of swap it over in a bit, but we'll just move the throttle completely out the way because we're going to just stick it in that hole. Okay. Just be careful of this plastic. Yeah, that does break sometimes. And then we could just take a couple of these vacuum lines. We're going to have to swap this one over completely. Sometimes they can be a bit stiff, so just be patient because you might end up breaking it. There we go. Bit of there we go. So that always comes out of the bulkhead. It's supposed to clip into there, I think. There we go. But just leave that on the side. Leave that wiring loom. Okay. I'm going to have to take this out because we're going to take this injection rail out. That's the breather. I'm sorry I'm moving at a rapid pace, but that's come out the airbox for some reason. That shouldn't be like that. There we go. So we're just moving everything out the way as much as we can. This is a coolant expansion, so don't worry. We are going to have to take all of this off very carefully. These are broken. That's broken. So just take all this off.
Put it in the bottom.
I think these clips are actually exactly. Well, I'll put them in my spares.
Piling up.
Yeah, it is a little bit. This is the plug for the map sensor wiring. There we go. Lovely. So that's there, and the other bit. So this is the map sensor wire. This wire goes down to the idle control valve, just in there. See that? And then you can just pull that nice and free. This is part of the wiring loom for the injection rail. Okay, so basically we've got the map, idle control valve, and the throttle position sensor that comes out the end. So you can see how it's all routed, including my glove.
Throttle position sensor?
Yes.
What, down that?
No, it's not. Connects to there.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You do get a glimpse of how these things are kind of bolted together.
I'll just check if you've ignition.
Yeah, no. Don't worry. Well, what we're going to have to do, actually, before we actually do any more, I'm going to take the fuse out because we need to depressurise the fuel system. Start the car. There you go. That took quite a long time to actually stall. That must have been a record. That was about 15 seconds. Try again. Lovely. Okay, mate, no problems. I can go on then. That's it, we're done. Fuel system is depressurised. I'll just pop that fuse back in. No, don't need to do that. The fuel system is now depressurised. I can now take that rail out as well because we're going to take the inlet and the rail out. Right, now we've done that, we can just take a few more bits off. Obviously, we've got to take the blasted alternator off again, and that stretch belt. I'll deal with that off camera in a second, but the main one is this servo hose. So this is a servo hose, okay, it goes all the way here. We've got a non-return valve here. They can sometimes play up where you think your servo's playing up, it's not. But just slide that out, it's just held in with a seal, okay? And we can just sort of, it's quite flexible this, so I'm just going to hook this just out the way, stick it in that hole, wherever, just leave it out the way. Now, we've got a couple of things we just need to take care of. I don't know, what's this? It's cable tied again. Oh yes, because the fir tree clipper's given away. Yeah, no, don't worry, we'll get a new one of that. But I'm just going to try and release this from the wiring if I can. Why is that not?
Push down.
Is it?
Down the bolt.
God, hold on. You're telling me what to do next. Feel my neck. There we go. I was just thinking that, though it doesn't look obvious because it's a different type of plug. But that is your NOx sensor plug. We are going to have to look at that in a second, but don't worry. I will cut the wires when I get a chance.
I've got one in the back.
No, that's no problem. Right, what we can do is we can actually disconnect the fuel line. Literally, I'm just going to put my pick into here. This is the return, by the way. You put it in here and you separate the two halves. There you go. See what I did? I've just separated the two halves. Then you push this one in. It's like the fuel clips for the fuel pipe.
I was going to say that.
There we go. Push out with your fingers very gently. Now, there will be some fuel, but it won't be under pressure. Might need a pry tool, actually. What was that?
We need some under here. So
No, it's fine. There we go. Lovely. Sometimes you use a pry bar, but that's it. Careful, 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 man. Right. Now, what we can do is just move that out the way. Don't worry about that down there. Okay, that is your return line off. Now we need to get the, well, basically from the fuel pump, this is the feed hose. Okay, again, just flick it to the side, push it in very carefully, just push it through. Might have to just do a bit of this. So push it in. There we go. It is fiddly because it's stiff. It hasn't been taken out in a long time.
I don't think it has, to be honest.
No, this one is becoming a bit of a... There we go. Done. Now, careful of this because it is moulded onto plastic. Just my screwdriver just to bang away a little bit. Just bring it out. It is held in with a nut ring. There we go. Straight on the alternator, fantastic. Don't worry, it's just excess fuel. Right, by the way, you just got to be careful of this plastic on the end here. In fact, that's quite stiff, that is. That should move. Anyway, so now we're left with a fuel rail just held in by a couple of bolts. Now what we need to do is take the electrics off. We've disconnected all of the electrics. So what we need to do is put a screwdriver in, and you've got a clip that holds to each of these injectors. You just push it in one at a time. So push that in and keep pulling up. There we go. Push in, and
So this should be easy to do because it's been off before.
yep,
With the garage.
there we go. All you're doing is that you push these in while pulling up, and then we have literally disconnected the electrics from there. Now, to be honest, there is one thing we should have done. Very bad. Very, very bad.
I think I know what the radio code is.
And now you're telling me that you don't know the radio code. No, I've done that.
I think it's on back of the radio when on the top.
Right. Honestly. Right, so what we have here is...
Sand.
Yeah, sand. We've got one bolt here and one bolt here. I think they are 10s. So it won't take too much to take these off. No, they never struggle, these bolts, ever, on a Mark 1. No, there we go. So, all good. There we go. Lovely.
Is this the hard job pulling them out?
No. Well, we'll see about that, but you just got to wiggle them. They will be stiff. You say, so you might need some penetrating fluid down there, actually. Okay. We'll try again. I always do this by hand. There we go. That's much better.
Yeah.
Done.
Just that one.
Just that one.
An extra hand.
God, there's another one.
Oh,
My God, they're bad. That was hard. All the O-rings have come out, but my God, that is filthy.
They're dirty.
There can be a lot of contaminants on these. It probably means that we've just got a bit of quite a bit of carbon in the inlet manifold. But flipping it, that's... Like I said in the previous episode, guys, they are made by Siemens. They do not go wrong. Tell you what, even your injectors are rusty. What the heck? In fact, Nick, you know I said they don't go wrong? That it's literally the coating that has ripped into that. I don't like that injector.
I show you want that one?
Yeah. Well, these are going to go into my spares. They never go wrong. I'll just take an individual injector. You know, because I've got I only want one for myself. I only want a couple of spare injectors. The rails never go wrong. These, occasionally they leak excessively if the valve gives up, but I doubt they're pretty good quality. No.
Will that performance that injector being like that?
It's not ideal actually, but it wouldn't, because it's just the body's probably got a bit dirty. But yes, so these are the injector holes. We're going to have to do a lot of cleaning. I'm going to have to be very careful with not getting dirt inside there. But we have... we're now going to take the rest of it off. We're going to have to take this Phillips screw out for a start. You said that the garage actually got that out. That's remarkable how they got that out.
Well, it's not gone this way, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, so, you know, that's interesting.
Was it in the picture?
I think so. Right, what I'm going to do, guys, just to speed this up, alternator off, stretch belt off. We've done this before a million times. We'll come back to them. Right, so, trying to take this blasted screw out to release the dipstick from the inlet manifold. Look how small it is. When you take everything apart, it's so simple. Don't pull it. Well, no, you won't. It's just, you know, it's kind of how it is, really. Right, so, what was that?
Are you disconnecting that?
No, because this is part of the loom on it. We just keep all that on, okay?
Okay.
There is a vacuum line that goes to the back of this throttle, but we're going to have to take that off when we bring it forwards. But these are all 10s and 10 mil on a ratchet. This is the one we can't get to, this one. That's why you have to take your alternator out. God, they've bloody over-taught this again, haven't they? So they took all this off. Make sure your socket is right on.
They use the electric one, wouldn't they?
Yeah. There we go. Once it's cracked, it's fine. I'm sorry for the ahs and ahs, but it really is strenuous doing this. Oh, that was easy enough. Right, and then we've got 2 down here. We've got 1 down here. Now, I might need to just get rid of the extension, I think. Sorry, mate, I'll just get that in the way. God, that's tight. I've never known any of these bolts to have a problem coming out. I've never heard of one snapping, put it that way. Got another one which down here. It's just down here.
You won't well see.
No, you probably won't. There we go. That didn't even crack off. Lovely. Okay, so we just use a couple of extensions to get to all these. 1 bolt, 2. These are big thick bolts, so 3. It's quite tight, that one. As I say, I've never known any of these to snap or crack unless you're really stupid. Just make sure your socket is properly onto the head. Got another one down there, another one down there. So
need to take
that's weird.
What the?
Yeah. I didn't realise that was a longer bolt. I remembered actually it is. So these 4, so basically these are the top bolts. That's the bottom left. And that's the bottom right. So that's for that, that's for that. And these are the top ones. Okay. Now, theoretically, it should just come off. But we know it's a bit stuck on. It's been a while since I've done this. People are saying, oh, you can't take that off. I know, because I've missed a bolt. There's just a bolt under here on this side. Oof, come on. There we go. This garage, I think they've over-torqued these bolts, you know. Because if this has come off like 2 weeks ago, or a week or so ago, then it should be pretty... there we go. It's already falling off. I won't even need to crack this. It's not like metal inlet manifolds where you have to give it a whack with a hammer. It should be quite loose. I wondered why it was so tight.
It's not like exhaust manifold.
Yeah, I think that's a pressing case. If you're taking something off and you... There we go. That's another bolt, which is...
But it's not a black one.
Randomly stuck. No, it's not a black one, but I'm going to put that on the right-hand side. In fact... So basically, that's the top ones, that's the bottom 3. So the outer ones are the same length and the middle one is very long. That's all you need to know. And now we are ready to come off. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, mate, this is awful. What the heck is this?
That is 157 miles of coke.
That is coked. That is utterly... Oh, this is the worst one I've seen. Yes, I know. Well, we've taken the valve out. We've got to clean that valve because... And we've got to take this... This is the breather box, guys. So I'm going to explain all this in a second, but we need to get this vacuum line off. This is going to be a... Oh, you have to squeeze these tabs together to get this off. And then that's the vacuum line that goes from the charcoal canister. It's this one. So it goes all round the back. Yeah. So just leave that there and take the whole thing away. That is ready for the bin. We do need the breather hose, so it's the valve that sits in the block. Just need to pull this off.
Yeah, I've changed that. So.
This can go mostly in the bin. I'll be taking a few bits off it. The gaskets look flat as anything. This is why you change the gaskets when they're a certain age. There you go, mate. That is terrible. Seized bolts everywhere. Seized.
Black.
The throttle looks okay. Actually, that's not bad. Bit of sand here and there. No, I'm going to take the valve off, take what I can. Been a sodding shame. Now, breather pipe. This is a genuine that you fitted not long ago. They do get weak with time, and you might see a bit of oil in there. Might see a bit of oil, but we are going to March time. Goodness me.
Well, March, April, that's when I got in March.
This is a genuine Ford one, Motorcraft. Most of them are plastic, some of them are metal. Good. We will give that an extra clean out before I install this onto the new manifold, but just stick that on there. And the way it sits, as you can see, over here we've got the starter motor down here. Should we take your starter out and refurb it? It's the most access you're going to have. We've got a little oil pressure sender down here. See this wire coming off the loom? There's a little oil sender just there. Lovely. No, they don't really go wrong. But this sits like that, okay, in this breather box. There's an O-ring seal here. It's kind of, I tell you what, mate, there's a lot of coke inside this box actually. Yeah, it's just coked. It's horrible. Yeah, I'm looking down the ports. Now, let me get my torch. Right. These intake valves actually look really clean. We just got to clean the tracks because there's a lot of carbon in there. Number one is the worst, but yeah, okay, this is pretty good actually, mate. Yeah, you just hold the camera. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. What we're going to do is we've got the knock sensor. Now the knock sensor never, I'll tell you something, to replace this you're going to have to do this and take the inlet off. They never go wrong. I've never known one to go wrong, so we'll leave that in situ. Look what they've done. Look at what the garage have done with all these new, honestly. So apparently this engine was not far away from being condemned because of this. This is horrible. Tiny bolts going into that housing, and you wonder why it actually doesn't cause a problem.
That's actually bent, that one.
Where? Yeah, I know, it's not sitting particularly true, that one, but they've obviously drilled a new tap. But as long as it's not leaking, nope, that's good. Right, we're going to leave it there. They had to take the pump off, I gather, to get access as well to the bottom ones. No. Oh, that's good.
Intake.
Just the intake. Oh, goodness me. Right, we've got a load of 8mm around here. I'm just going to keep taking these out. Right, about an hour later, there has been some progress. The breather box is relatively clean, but you can't get all of that out. The gasket's a bit on the flat side, but it still protrudes enough, so just fit that back in there. This valve, I've literally just shoved a bit of carb cleaner in there, and I had to give it a good shake, didn't I, Nick, for it to go? It was shaking, but look at that, it literally just all over the place. Yep, so that's going to be bolted to that in a second. While we're here, oil pressure switch. In a Mark 1, this is what we call, back in the day, an idiot light. The oil pressure light in a Mark 1 should go off pretty quickly. Basically, this takes pressure from the oil in the main oil gallery, so it screws in just here. Now, this is where it sits. To get to this position, when the inlet is in place, is very, very difficult. It's got this rubbish little screw connector that just literally screws it, it just pushes on. But this goes into the main oil gallery, so you've got this ledge here that runs across. It is literally the main oil gallery that feeds all the crank journals, and it's basically a splash effect on the big ends, put it that way. But basically, if the light comes on in the dashboard, because this operates at extremely low pressure, so basically, if that light ever comes on the dashboard when you're driving, too late. Your bearings will be sodded, and it will be a replacement engine, because replacing the bearings in these is somewhat not attainable unless you're willing to try and have a go at fitting a bearing from another car, from another engine. Nobody has ever managed to do that yet, but I probably might be one of the first to try my hand at that one, because the tolerances apparently in a Sigma and a Zetec are very, very fine. Too fine to disturb the crankshaft. It should never be disturbed, but to be honest, it probably will be better to get a replacement engine. But yes, if this puts the light on the dashboard when you're driving. Anyway, I've just given it a bit of a clean because of just where it sits, and I'm just going to bolt it back in. It's 24mm. Have you seen how clean the ports are? They're very clean, aren't they?
Very shiny.
Just a bit of carb clean and it's all good. There is no O-ring on this, by the way, not like the old senders, but you just nip it up with a 24. Just keep nipping it up until it kind of butts out. Just a little bit more. Sorry about that.
So, if starting the engine again now, will they all like go up, stay on for a bit, then go off, or will it automatically just go off like normal?
It will probably go off as normal. Just trying to. There we go. I'm not wanting to do it any more than that because it will just it'll be too much for that. Anyway, I'll leave that there and I'll put the connector back on. It should just, as I say, turn itself off. Well, almost immediately, to be honest. Oh, I've caught my glove in that. There we go. I've just given all this a bit of a clean down here. This doesn't really need to be clean because this is full of oil anyway. I'll just stick my rag in there. Then he proceeds to clean it. Andrew says don't clean it and then proceeds to clean it. But yeah, I'm just going to clean up this facing just here a little bit, and I'm going to clean all this facing up where the gasket sits, just to make sure we've got a perfect seal going on. But yeah, just a little bit more cleaning. And yes, without the radiator fanny, there's too much space around here. But anyway, yeah, cut a couple of hours down the line. Just nip all these up. Nice new box, well, freshly cleaned inside out box. Just go around. You've got 4 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. There's like 7 bolts. There we go. Just nip it up. You don't have to do it too much. Just these are tiny little bolts, just hand tight only. Just give it a nip. Just go around. Take your time. You don't want any of these going on you. Just make sure that it's nice and tight down there.
Don't want them falling out.
No, no, no. Just keep going back round. Nip. Nip.
Does it matter which order you
Nip.
tie them up, like a sequence?
Not with this one. We are going to have to do that on the inlet manifold. And as you can see, guys, nice and clean in here. And I've just shaved it away, a bit of sandpaper. You've got a bit of a lip here where the aluminium has kind of expanded a little bit over the years. But it doesn't matter because it's not covered by the actual inlet manifold. I'm just going to get my air line. I'm just going to blow this out. Running out of air a little bit. There we go. Right, that's done. So we are actually now all in. We've just done a bit of clean up and it's now ready to go. This is now ready to be installed. I've installed the clip down here. The valve, the breather hose has now been installed. You just slip it in there and the valve sits to the right hand side. Literally, there's nothing more we can do other than offer it up, my friend. We have done everything. We've just made sure that you've connected the oil ring sensor and the obviously make sure that this is all nice in place, and yeah, it's all good. It's ready to go, and put that on that side and then just offer it up as best as we can. I will probably connect this as well, connect the servo pipe. There we go, it's on. That's locked on. Just give it a pull and it won't come off. It's as simple as that, and we're just ready to go in. Breather valve doesn't have to be planted in yet. Line this up. There we go, like that. Just line that in. There we go, done. There's a bit of a fight to get it into place, but you've got to be careful that nothing is in the wrong position. So just have your knock sensor going down the side. And those dowels just slide underneath like the cylinder head. It just slides in. It just, see, if I try and pull this up, it won't move because the dowels are underneath. So ideally so, but that's all you need to do with this. Now the PCV valve isn't sitting inwards. We don't need to worry about that because we can get our hands in and push that in manually. But now we just start putting the bolts in. So just get some bolts. Don't put Loctite on there, it's not necessary, and just wind some of them in. Just start it off make sure that the threads are starting to catch. If it's not going in, it means it's not kind of aligned properly. But doesn't this look good, Nick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It looks kind of weird, to be honest, at the moment.
Yes, it does, but it really makes a difference. Oh, I know. Really makes a difference. So, then this is the bottom one. So, just put these two up here. We might have to move these clips out of the way just to get access, and just get it in finger tight, and then get this one in. There we go. That's gone in really, really nicely. I might wind that in with the ratchet by hand. The bottom three, middle one is the longest. So, lovely. Okay. We've got this one down here. I see, even I can't see where it is. It's this one. So, underneath the servo is the other bolt, the servo entry. The vacuum feed, I should say. So that hasn't quite... Oh, yep, that's gone. And this one, which is just here. So where the dipstick tube attaches, it's just kind of here. Not there, Andrew, don't put it in there. There we go. That one's a bit stiff, so I might try and get it in by hand by a few threads. There you go. So at least you know, don't use guns on this, guys. Do it by hand. This really needs to be done properly. There is a sequence to doing this. It's 18 Newton meters. Now, notice how we don't use torque wrenches mostly. A lot of stuff you don't need a torque wrench for. This you do. Manifold's absolutely essential if you can. It'll be 18 Newton meters. It isn't much. And I'll be using my small 1/4 inch ratchet. So I'm just going to wind all these in and we'll cut to them. Right, now the bolts are all hand tight. Okay, they're pretty tight. We've all squashed all 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts. And now we're going to go in a kind of a sequence. We're going to go by the book. It's you start in the middle and you work your way out. So we're going to do this is the bit that's important. Down here it's not important because this is where the sealing goes. So these 3 bolts, don't worry too much. We're going to do these 5 in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You work your way out, you spread the weight out because it's plastic. Okay, now blimey neck, can't even get to it. That's a bit of a problem. Right, let's see if I can try and swing this. Well, that one, I don't know if I can actually, I'm going to need an extension. I think I'm going to need an adapter. I was going to use a 1/4 inch. Turns out I'm going to have to use an adapter. There you go. Just having to use that adapter, my torque wrench, just that small one. So now I can use a 3/8. Sometimes it's worth it to do it this way. 18 Newton meters. This is my engine building torque wrench. There we go. That's it, done. Don't need to do it again. And the next one, just hold it nice and straight. There we go. Lovely. That's how easy it is. Lovely. And go to this one. Opposite sides. Never do them next to each other. I was about to then. Lovely. And we'll just finish off by doing the last ones at the bottom. So, preferably the centre one, which is just here. Sorry, mate. There we go.
That'll be one longer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the shorter ones. I try not to use extensions when using torque wrenches because the extension can alter the torque characteristic, so you can actually under torque it as potential. So I've got that. There we go. We're in. We are in. We're in. Did I say we're in?
I think you did.
Yes. So
it's
now,
not over.
No, not at all. Well, we're definitely going places. Right. Next thing, really, We can put the fuel rail back in potentially. We could leave the alternator off to the last bit because you guys know how that's done. So we're just going to pop a few things back on, namely the fuel rail. There's a parts number on all the injectors here. 98 MFBB, or something else there, but to be honest, you can't get these individually. Ford will sell you this entire rail. This is one part, including the regulator. The regulator actually can be bought separately, but they'll sell you the whole rail with 4 injectors. You cannot buy the rail, they never go wrong, and you cannot buy the injectors individually. Why would you? They never go wrong. They can be cleaned out, put some Redex in, put some quality fuel in. Honestly, they never go wrong. All we do, yep, he's aimed straight down here. Thanks, Nick. Just pop them in. Just aim to pop it. Now, this might take a bit of strength just to bash it in.
No hammers, please, guys.
Well, we'll try not to, but it could be a really tight fit because these O-rings have never sat in here before. Right, that was a bit of a pain, that was, getting that in, so we both had to try. Basically, obviously the fuel rail will be wobbly until you put these 2 mounting screws in, but you're looking for the seal. I think if you can see, I don't know if you can put it in there, but the seal looks to be really in that recess. We had a bit of a problem there, and I had to get my screwdriver, I had to take it back out and get my screwdriver just to get rid of a little bit of aluminium corrosion, and that was what was stopping us from pushing it in. It was just, you could end up ruining the seal, so it's a real big top tip there. But literally 2 10s, 1 here, and literally the rail will bolt to the top of the inlet manifold. As I say, you could bolt the rail to the inlet manifold, like I said in the last episode, but to push the inlet manifold that way and to put the injectors in, impossible. You have to do it separately. It's as simple as that. Just wind it in, and then it is screwing into plastic, so just do a bit there and then do a bit over here. None of these will leak. The seals are nicely in place. As long as the seal is in the recess and it's not trying to sponge out on the top of it, because that's a big problem. There we go, that's just changed its angle and gone really stiff. So tighten that up, not overly tight please, just tighten it down a couple of times.
Will you have starting issues on this?
No, it would leak fuel. It would leak fuel everywhere, yeah. But these seals are good, and that is now rock steady, fantastic. Now we can actually get all this back in. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean up here, just excess. We'll do a bit more of this in a bit, but yeah, this is your ECU sort of wiring control grommet, etc. I love these stickers here. So just clean all the plugs up, just give it a bit of a spruce over, since everything it's going to will be yeah, brand new, and these connections, they always clean themselves. So basically just pop it down onto the injectors. Just make sure everything else is out the way. Oh, there you go. 4 clicks and you're in. Done. We are in. I'll just put that back on. Just take that and pop that back in and just clip that in. There we go. That's all ready to go as well. Lovely.
Have you had a time where pushing these was like stiff?
No. They always go back in nicely. You've got this plug here, which is your... Right, you've got one plug that goes down. This is your idle air control valve plug. So pop that down there. Pop that plug in there. That's for the map sensor. There you go. That's nice and taut. And then we put this plug back in here. We've got to do the PCV valve. I'll just get my fingers in there. Might have to do that a bit later, but get your fingers in and push the valve down. You can't do it when you're putting the manifold in. So we've done that, and then we'll put this one, which is your throttle position sensor, down here. Hook it into this piece here. There we go. Clip it into there. Yep, with an affirmative click. Lovely. That's all done. Right, vacuum lines. moving apace now. Okay, so again, sorry, I should have given this a bit of a clean. I'll do that in a second. Top of it goes onto the fuel regulator valve. Just make sure it's fully on it. Doesn't need a hose clip. And then the other one from that small hose can go to either of these two vacuum lines here. And then the other one from the charcoal canister also goes on. Lovely. I've got the breather from the air box that will come over here. Honestly, when you've done this a million times, it's just so easy. You just breather box, pipe goes round there and connects to there. Lovely. So you've got your breather line in there, got your coolant pipe there. We've got this line which is stuck. This is your fuel return line, so make sure it's clipped in. Okay, now we are going to put the clips back into place here in a second. Actually, if I just put one of them back in, we took this off just to do the job that we said before. Just make sure your hoses are nicely arranged, and this return line again just clips on. Lovely, done, right on. Clip it through, and then you sort of bend this tab like this, just push it in. There you go, all done, nice, ready to go. Got this one here. I'm not a magician, I just know these cars off by heart, and it takes a lot of time to do so. Now that's your coolant pipe also. Now I'm just going to bring this servo line round. Actually that goes in between there, so just bring that in there. Your servo line will go in this one, and again just a bit of a clean, push it in. There we go. That should, there we go, that's fine. That has now gone in really nice. There's a bit of a plastic sleeve to that. Sometimes there's a click, sometimes there's no click. Lovely. And obviously throttle cable, which comes through here, which goes in this final one. Put your throttle cable through here, through here, through here, and then now what we need to do is, I should have done this actually. I'm just going to get this bush off the throttle lever.
You say we need to swap a rubber fin on?
Yes. Now that's off. It's just a little bush, just a bush. Okay. So it just pops onto the end of the spindle there. I'm just going to clean all that off and just refit the bushing to the shaft. You've got to make sure that it pops through the other end. If it doesn't, make sure it's gone, because otherwise it could pop out in situ. Not entirely happy with the condition of this rubber, but it's okay, it'll do. And let's give that a bit of a clean up. Okay, and what we do here really is just pull the throttle out a little bit and fit. I think what you do is just pull that through. Now there's a square bit at the end of this throttle lever that goes in with this square. Just twist, there we go. Okay, just twist it in. Okay, it's not coming out. So, and then you put the end of the throttle cable over the spindle. You're just gonna have to use your thumb. There we go. Can you see that? Now if you can see that, yeah, it's gone over. Lovely. Oh, it hasn't gone on, don't know why that's not. There we go, there we go, done. All you do is you put it in and you twist it. It's as simple as that. It's just a square notch. There we go, done. Right, we can pop that air box back in. I know we got a new air filter in this, but I think we need to clean that up before we put that back on. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's sand in there as well.
Absolutely. In terms of everything else, dipstick. Yes, I'll put that little screw back in for the dipstick. So yes, because the dipstick. There we go.
What about the knock sensor?
And don't worry, because we're going to attach. We have to attach the dipstick first, and then the knock sensor will attach to the. What I'll have to do, because the cable tie has gone from there. There will be because the fir tree clip has broken up as they do. It usually goes into this bit here, but what I'll just have to do is cable tie it. But just put this screw back in. I don't know how they managed to get this screw out, because this was utterly seized. They must have had something really good to unseize that, because I was just going to end up, you know, just cutting it off, to be honest, because we were going to throw the old one in the bin. Lovely. Learn to use a screwdriver. You can't put a normal screwdriver in here, because there's no room with especially with the electric fan.
What electric fan?
Well, we've gotten a bit of an advantage there, I know. Tell me about it. But what I've done, I've routed this knock sensor over the other side, so just we'll connect it up. God, it's still bloody
I have got
dirty.
some tie rips in the back.
Yes, we're going to need one of them to attach that to the dipstick, so it's just not flopping around like that. There's a few little bits we're going to tidy up with, but as far as I'm concerned, we're all back into place. Just remember to connect your breather to the airbox. We'll just clean that airbox back up and refit the alternator and the stretch belt. And we'll cut back when we're all kind of cleaned up and ready to start. Now, the important thing is we've disconnected the battery for safety, obviously, a bit too late in my respect. But the ECU has got to relearn all its parameters. It's got to relearn everything, because we've fitted all new parts to it. And it'll be like, oh gosh, what's all this? This is new. Well, what's all this? You know, clean pipes, new sensors. And it's thinking, ooh, okay, I better relearn how to do everything from scratch. Like basically being reborn. It's got to learn everything again in the space of 10, 15 minutes and a bit of a drive, which is what we're going to be doing later. That's for the math sensor. He's distracting me, this one, giving me random screws.
It's just on the table, I thought.
Yeah, I know, like everything's on the table, too much. Anyway, 1 hour later. Hello everyone, and welcome to about 2 or 3 hours later, about 2 hours later. We were pretty quick because literally we'd done our homework. I did all the homework and it was all fitted really, really nicely. We've cleaned it. Alternator is now back on. We're all connected with a white clip which stands out a mile, run out of black clips, with no radiator electric fan going to a car show where queues are very obviously going to be an issue. So I think we're going to have to do the windows down, heater blower on the max. We'll sweat it out.
I've got confidence it won't work.
I think we've got confidence because we've got a thermostat housing, brand new, coolant, and it's all good. And we just connected the battery. No, we haven't. No, it's not ridiculously hot. Thank you for removing the wire brush, because we are now about to start the car. We've connected the battery, and Nick's already noted a bit of a positive. So you got in the car just a minute ago,
yeah.
And what was the surprise?
The accelerator pedal is nice and light.
Yeah.
Instead of not grunchy.
And stiff.
Yes.
I felt it before and I wondered if, yeah, it's not great. It was really stiff. And that is probably down to the return spring being all gummed up with rubbish, and then the throttle disc was, it was awful, awful. It's all gone in that bin over there. So now we're ready to start the initiation. Okay, mate, let's just...
Prime first?
Prime. Turn it off again. Turn it back again. Yeah, that's just to let it go. Now, wait a minute. This is where you check for leaks. No. 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 If you've got any leaks by your injectors, you will know it by now. No. It'd have all seeped out. Yes.
Did you put the fuse back in?
Yes, I put the fuse back in. You can hear the fuel pump. I can hear the fuel pump. Off we go then. Bottoms up. It might be a bit rough. It's the carb cleaner burning off. Now leave it now, Nick. Do not touch that gas pedal. It's got to relearn. Yeah, it's probably going to be in a bit of a frenzy at the moment because it's working out. Oh, this is new. What's going on here? So it's basically like it's come out the factory again. It's got to relearn. So it was a bit of a cough, probably a bit of carb cleaner, stuff that's in there, hopefully a bit of dust that's burnt out the back. I think it would have come shooting straight out. And those of you who noticed, I have just painted the back box with some high temperature silver just for the show. It looks fantastic now. An old back box is now looking amazing. This is my stuff. Small consolation from what I've actually added to the car. Okay, the car will be doing a fast idle. It won't come down for some time until yeah, it's warmed up. Well, I'm going to leave this here because this car is going to go on a bit of an initiation, and I need to get it here, edit this video, get rid of all these video clips off my memory card, because I need that memory card empty for tomorrow's show. It's going to be huge, amazing. I can't divulge where we're going, but this is going to be very much, as a CL Focus, the perfect star for that show. Anyway, this is how you restore power to a Focus Mark 1 and refinement and smoothness. This will work absolutely like a doddle. Anyway, say bye, Nick.
Bye bye, everyone. Successful day.
It's already started slowing down. That is one smooth and happy engine. It's not even juddering a bit. Right, how does that feel? Bliss. In what way? Describe it.
More power.
Yeah.
Just wanting to go.
Yeah. Bit more.
Every time I come down to a stop, the rev was going up a bit, but I think
it's trying to work that one out a little bit. It's still calibrating.
When I put the clutch in,
yeah.
Then it comes down.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like powerful, responsive. Your fuel economy will be far better. It will still, it will still learn. So when we go to the show tomorrow, we're traveling quite at speed, and the car will learn how to drive at a 40, 50, 60, 70. It will keep learning through that journey, and by the time that we've got to the show, it will have learned everything it needs to learn. So
still 900 revs.
900 revs. So that's good.
Higher than it was.
Fraction, so it's revving a idling fractionally higher than it was before. That's good. That's good.
About
it may that may change, mate. It might just put it up a bit. What happens is when you've got a calibration going on, the ECU's relearning, is it will dump a bit more fuel in deliberately, just to keep things a bit higher. So the car might seem more powerful today. Tomorrow it might be fractionally less powerful because the ECU has balanced it out a little bit. But there you go, guys. So this is the way to do it, guys. Looking after your Mark 1 this way, doing jobs properly, gaining more power by actually not spending a ridiculous amount of money. And this car, we are winning. We are winning a lot. Anyway, look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys.